What's the best carry gun? Specifically, not necessarily the gun itself, but caliber and gun type combination. I've got asked this quite a few times, wanting to know what I think is the best carry gun, the best combination, the best caliber, all of that. And I thought, the best way to do that really is to kind of show what I carry. And this is coming from a person that does ballistic testing. I do at least one a week, different calibers, different combinations. And there's not just one thing to take into consideration. It's not just, the terminal ballistics, what happens to that bullet as it impacts the target, but also how easy it is to carry, how easy it is to manage that particular gun for carrying it, keeping it at home, recoil, all of that. There's a lot of things to take into consideration that go far beyond terminal ballistics. And before I really get into to showing pretty much what I think the best is, I'll give a little bit of a rundown on some of my experience here. I've been testing ammunition for quite a while, but I've purchased, sold, had, kept, so at some point, probably about 40 different handguns over the years. I've had my carry permit for a number of years. I've just constantly shooting different guns, different caliber combinations, reloading ammo, all of that. And as an example, I'm going to bring out probably one of the most common setups there are, not necessarily brand specific, but this is kind of a perfect example of what most people would consider right in the middle of the road of something that's perfect. A 4-inch barreled 9mm 15 shot. Basically a Glock 19 style handgun. This happens to be a Ruger Security 9, but there's a whole bunch of guns like this that are 15 shot 4-inch barrels. And in general, a gun like this actually is pretty perfect. I really like a 9mm in a 4-inch barrel or larger. Some people think I don't like 9mm. I actually do. It's a good cartridge, but you basically need a larger gun to really make it work well. Once you start going really small guns, sometimes the recoil and all of that makes reliability a little bit iffy. Now, when we're talking about handguns for self-defense or concealed carry, we're talking about guns that are usually carried in a lot of different positions. There's not necessarily a perfect position to carry it for everybody. Like a lot of people, they talk about inside the waistband, how perfect it is, and then I try to tell people, well, I got a lot of health issues, 40 years old, I got spondylitis in my back, I have rheumatoid arthritis and other stuff like that. I can't necessarily carry a pistol inside the waistband. It gets to the point where, like, I'd almost be one of those guys that would say I'm not going to carry at all rather than carry like that, and there's a lot of people like that. But in general, the 4-inch 9mm really is a good option, and it does carry pretty well on outside the waistband as well as inside the waistband. As well as there's other ways to carry it, and it carries okay, better than full-size guns, but it's not for everybody, and it's definitely not for me. Now, there is a gun that I think is perfect, and a lot of people are going to think that I'm going to show like something like this 38 Special J-frame, which the 38 Special it's a wonderful cartridge, it is, as well as the 357 Magnum. They're very good cartridges. And if I had to pick between 38 Special and 357 Magnum for concealed carry, I would probably pick 38 Special over 357 Magnum, because you can get guns like this 342 PD that weighs, I believe it's like 11 ounces. Very light to carry, and the 38 Special is relatively manageable in a firearm like that. Once you go up to 357 Magnum though, if you're using full power loads, especially the heavier bullet ones, 158 grain in that range of full power loads, the recoil becomes so unmanageable. You're almost kind of afraid of the gun, and you want to flinch a little bit. Now, if you go with a heavier gun like a 357 Magnum steel frame gun and you load 38 Special in it, yeah, that becomes a much better shooter. But I think there's a better option, and what that better option is a gun that has as much energy or sometimes even more than a 4-inch 9mm. It's twice as concealable, and it has no more recoil. And I'm going to show you what that gun would be. All right, before I show what I think is the best, I'm going to give kind of my list of what I think is most important. Number one, it has to be shootable. It has to be something that you can control really easily and land those shots accurately. Number two, it has to be extremely reliable. Number three, it has to possess a really good amount of stopping power. A lot of people might put that as number one, but if you can't reliably fire off more than one round, or you can't hit more than one round, you know, stopping power, energy, all that is kind of a moot point. The next one would be concealability. If you have a gun that's might be perfect, but you cannot really carry it with you all the time, then it's kind of, that again is pointless. So the gun, I think, possesses all of those qualities better than anything else, has as much power as a full-size 9mm pistol, but still fits in the pocket, is a 327 Federal Magnum Snubby. This happens to be the LCR, and I think specifically the LCR is going to be a better option than, let's say, an old Smith & Wesson J-frame, mainly because of the triggers. Here's a J-frame. Trigger is absolutely horrendous. And we look at a 327, or I should say LCR in general, it's absolutely buttery smooth. And that plays into its shootability. It's very easy to shoot this gun. It weighs 17 ounces, and this is what I carry. Just so y'all know, this is what I carry. Because out of all the options I have, I feel like this is the best option. It weighs 17 ounces, it soaks up the recoil, it has a lot more great attributes to it. Now, one of the things, when we're talking about going to a snub over an auto, we talk about like little pistols, if you want something that's so concealed you can put in the pocket, but a lot of times you go into like 9mm, the really small ones that can fit in the pocket, they lose their reliability. Revolvers don't lose their reliability. Now, definitely don't want to go down to a 357 Magnum because of the recoil issue that I mentioned before. And with 357 and 38, they're always 5-shot revolvers. The 327 is pretty much always a 6-shot revolver when you're talking a little snubby. And why that makes a difference, 6-shot is hugely more advantageous than 5-shot. And somebody might say, well, that doesn't make any sense. That's only one more. How could that? Well, the thing is, when you research a lot of the real world information about real world shootings and the amount of shots that are fired, the average is 3. It's pretty much taken that between 1 and 5 is your average. It's very, very unlikely that you would ever need more than 5 rounds to settle an average situation. And when we're talking about 327, it has 6. So you have the average rounds you need plus 1. And you combine that with the fact that it's 100% reliable, and you can place those rounds more accurately because it's more shootable. It makes a lot of sense. Like if I were to compare this to 6 or 7 shot little pocket 9mm, it doesn't have the reliability, it doesn't have the shootability that the 327 has. And the 327 also has more power than a full-size 9mm. It has everything that you would look for or want in a carry gun and a carry caliber. Now, what makes the 327 cartridge so impressive? It was designed around a snub-nose revolver. We talk about pretty much every other cartridge out there, even 38 Special. It was designed for a 4-inch barrel or greater, 9mm, same thing. The 327 was really the only cartridge designed from the ground up as a snub-nose load. It was designed around and designed off of the 3-inch SP101. So 1.875 inch were a little bit shorter than the SP101's 3-inch, but it's still, because it was designed around a snub, you're still losing a lot less power and shootability over a full-size counterpart than what you are with other cartridges. So it still retains that perfect balance for a snub nose. Now, what makes 327 so interesting is that pretty much always you're shooting a lighter bullet faster than a 9mm, always. A 9mm, let's take the gold dot ammunition for instance. Both the gold dot and 327 and 9mm out of these respective guns will give about 400 foot-pounds energy. The difference is, you know, the 124 grain 9mm is doing that at about 1200 feet per second out of this, as where the 100 grain gold dot is doing about 1400 feet per second out of this with a 100 grain bullet. And why that matters is when we talk about pushing a bullet faster, you always have better expansion through soft materials, and you always have better penetration through hard barriers. It has everything that you would want in a perfect carry cartridge compared to anything else, and it's actually beating the gold standard, which is pretty much 9mm, for both of those areas. Now, one more advantage of something like a 327 that has an advantage over any semi-automatic pistol and also other revolvers is that it can go down to lesser cartridges. Now you're going to say, well, the 357 or the 38 Special can do that. You can go down from 357 to 38 Special to 38 long Colt, 38 short Colt. But the difference here is when we go down in cartridge, in the cartridge family 327, is a bigger significant difference. You're talking about less felt recoil in a 32 Smith & Wesson long or 32 H&R Magnum than any other cartridge. Perfect for somebody that might have a little bit of issue with recoil or shootability. So that really sums it up. It really is the perfect cartridge. You can give your opinions down below. I'd love to hear them, but in my opinion, there is no other cartridge that, or a combination of a cartridge and a handgun, that can beat this. This is full-size ballistics in a pocket gun. Full-size shootability, full-size energy, full-size hard barrier penetration, full-size expansion. And it fits in the pocket and you can fire them off pretty fast. So tell me what you think. And as always, comment, share, and like. And thanks for watching.